Katrina looked around. She didn't know how long she had been sheltering in the wall. She couldn't hear any flying objects. She leaned her body against the wall and pushed her legs until she was able to stand on her feet. Her severed hand was tied to her thigh with a rope. She looked at the gun display. She had 40 bullets in her magazine. She started moving slowly. To save energy, she put her system on special reserve. She had to go to the other side of the street. She looked at the sky. Her pupils, like a camera lens, were adjusted to the maximum magnification and monitored all angles of the buildings to make sure the birds weren't hiding somewhere. She returned to normal and moved to the other side of the street. The sun and the ruined buildings were her only observers. The high heat caused her body's cooling system to work, and this meant using more energy. She increased her speed a little to cover the width of the street faster and cool down a bit in the shadow of the wall and buildings. He could clearly see the movement of hot air from the street surface. Suddenly a faint sound caught his attention. He turned his hearing system to its highest level. Something was coming towards him quickly. He was now in the middle of the street, turned his head and zoomed his eyes in the direction of the sound. It was a vehicle. He noticed the buildings in front of him again, and this time increased his speed. He changed the power reserve and started running. Finally, he reached the buildings and took refuge in the shadow of one of them. He prepared his gun to fire. He had to take them hostage and get himself to a safe place. He lay down on the ground. He used the magazine of his gun as a support and to keep him steady on the ground while shooting. He had to stop them, but he could shoot the tires or hit the passengers so that the car wouldn't stop. The absence of one of his hands made it difficult, but he could drive. He finally found the car. A roofless Jeep with 2 women and 2 men in it. One of the women was driving. She was ready to shoot when a soft buzzing sound caught her attention. From between 2 buildings on the other side, one of the birds appeared. It stopped right in the middle of the street in mid-air. The flying robots were equipped with missiles and machine guns that could cause a lot of damage. A thought occurred to him: if he destroyed the bird, he could easily travel with them. They would owe him their lives. He used his normal reserve and got up. The bird did not notice his movement. His full attention was on the car. The passengers of the car noticed the robot in the air. A moment later, there was a loud braking sound and the car turned. The bird moved towards them at full speed and started shooting. Katrina ran behind him and along the buildings. She used all her remaining strength and precision and aimed at the bird's balance wings. The bird was hit and smoke rose from its body. Katrina had taken the risk. If the flying robot was not alone and another bird appeared after it and behind it, she could disable it forever by firing rockets and machine guns. The passengers of the car also fired at the damaged robot, and suddenly the bird was destroyed with a strong explosion and its parts were thrown around. Katrina stopped. Her body system began to warn her. Her hand could no longer hold the weapon up and it hung by her body and was motionless. With the other hand disabled, she was completely defenseless. She walked towards the buildings, so that if she wanted to turn off, she would be next to one of the buildings, not under the scorching sun and on the side of the road, where she would become a target for the birds and cyborgs to shoot at. She heard the sound of the car getting closer to her every moment. A loud voice said, "Hey lady, wait, wait." The car reached her and stopped next to her. Katrina turned towards them with a slow movement. One of the women said, "Are you a robot or a cyborg?" Katrina: "My name is Katrina and I am a robot." Woman: "My name is Leonis. Thank you for helping us." "Please, Leona, I am not feeling well. My strength is running out. I had to use it all because of you and that bird." "Jack, what are you doing here? Where were you going?" Katrina turned her head in the direction they were going. To the end of this road, to the communication center or some safe place. To recharge and get rid of the cyborgs and those damn birds. Suddenly, Katrina's knee moved towards the ground, but she could barely stand on her feet. Annie, your condition is not good at all.